Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's wonderful to have you here, my fellow gamers. I want to talk about something today that I talk about this all the time with my friends and stuff, but I just want to put this out there. It's just some trilogy series that I feel that the second game is the best of said trilogies. Now, this being a trilogy video, or about trilogies, I thought I would just pick three of my favorite trilogy series, and the three that I think where the second game is the best. So, I'm going to start in alphabetical order here. It really doesn't matter, but I'm going to start with Dead Space 2. Now, again, this is one of those things where, you know, the first game and the last game in the trilogies aren't necessarily always bad, but I just feel that the second games were where the real wonderfulness was, and where some of it was lost by the third one, or, you know, it was a true sequel like it should be. Dead Space 2, to me, now I love the first game, I hate the third game. I feel that they ruined the series by the third game. There was too many human interactions, too many human fights and everything, and less focus on the necromorphs and everything. But Dead Space 2, to me, is the pinnacle of this series. Just a little side note, I hope and pray that one day, even though I know the developers of this game have gone out of business and everything, Visceral and whatever else, I hope one day that something can happen that they can bring this back in a remaster. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. But to me, Dead Space 2 is a true sequel that did everything better that the first one did. The first game was great. I loved it. I loved playing it in the dark, around Halloween time, at night, whatever. You know, I love the first game. But the second one, they took it to a whole nother level, in my opinion. The zero-G sections were even better. Just all around better, in my opinion. Again, this is the first of many that I'm getting ready to talk about, or first of a few that I'm getting ready to talk about, that I feel, you know, it's just such a shame by the time the third game came around that it just fell to pieces, if you will. I absolutely love Dead Space 2. I just think it's a great game. Again, 1 was a good game too, but to me, 2 is where it was at. 2 is really where it was, and you know, short of the online thing, that's the only gripe that I could say that I have with Dead Space 2, is that the online component was so broken. I mean, anybody that played this back in the day, you know that if you were on the necromorph side, especially if you were just those little baby types or whatever running around, I mean, it was so broken. It was so broken if you were a human engineer type, or whatever you want to call it, versus the necromorphs. I mean, it was an awesome concept, and I really loved the idea, and I bought it day one, and I was so damn excited, you know, but at the end of the day, that is the only complaint that I have. It was a tacked on multiplayer anyway. It wasn't even necessary. So to me, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But anyway, moving along, the next one I want to talk about is Mass Effect 2. Now again, the first game was great. The third game in this series wasn't even terrible. I know a lot of people have, you know, complaints about the ending of 3, and I won't spoil anything here, and I won't be showing anything here, but suffice it to say that some people were a little disappointed at it. I kind of saw it coming from a mile away. We're not going to get into that too much because I'm focusing on 2 here, but I mean, you want to talk about a fantastic game. To me, Mass Effect 2 was so great because not only did I feel it was a great sequel to what 1 was, and you know, even though it leaned a little bit more towards the action end of things and got away a little bit more from the RPG end of things, it's almost a self-contained story in itself that you know, you can almost play it by itself. I mean, of course, it's got more context and more gravity to everything if you play the entire trilogy, and I definitely suggest it. 1's a little hard to play nowadays, but if you can get through it for the story and everything, if you have a 360 and are able to play it still, I would suggest doing it. But yeah, 2, I mean, the characters, the story, just, oh man. I mean, to this day, if I could marry Liara Tassoni, I would. I mean, but no, I mean, just the opening. Again, I won't spoil anything for anyone that hasn't played it. I won't be showing anything here, but just suffice it to say, if you played the first game and then within the first 5-10 minutes of the second one, you're just like, ugh. But, you know, with all the DLC added, the layer of the Shadow Broker, the Overlord DLC, some of the other ones that were thrown in there, they were just little tidbits and stuff, but fantastic game. Absolutely fantastic game. Love it to pieces. I still boot it up every once in a while. Again, one minor complaint that I can say, you know, the scanning of the planets and stuff got a little old after a while if you really were trying to do all of that. But again, if you achieve all the achievements in the game, and you start a new game, it definitely can help to where you have a lot of those resources. You still have to mine, but you know, again, small peanuts in the grand scheme of things. Absolutely fantastic game. Can't go wrong. Still amazing game in my opinion. This game came out in 2009 or 2010, I believe. I mean, it's already over 10 years old. Still a fantastic game. I mean, Garrus Valkyrian, Liara Tassoni, Morden Solus, just to name a few of your companions. The gravity of the situation, you know, the last mission, again, I won't spoil anything, but just all the choices that you've made. There have been deeper RPGs where choices are more, you know, affect more of the story, but suffice it to say, some of the decisions you can make and some of the upgrades you can get to your ship and the loyalty missions you can do with your crew and everything can make a big difference in how the ending that you get. Again, if you haven't played this one, go out and play this. This is just absolutely sci-fi at its best. Again, you know, 3, by the time they got to 3, they brought back some more of the RPG elements that 1 had. Again, that's another small complaint, if I would put that, if I had to give a complaint, other than the scanning got a little after a while of the planets, but just them taking away some of the RPG elements that made 1 so great, but they also added so much to the combat and everything that made it just fantastic. A must-play. I highly suggest it. Highly recommend it. If you haven't played it, definitely go out and play it. Another one that I would love to see an HD remaster of this trilogy. Maybe BioWare will get around to it. God knows they screwed up Mass Effect Andromeda. If anyone's ever played that, I know there's people that still like it. I tried to like it, but again, I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it. It just wasn't what I waited over 5 years for. So anyway, and my last one, probably no secret, my last video I made was about Donkey Kong Country 2 and how hype I am. This again, this is an way old school game, but to me, again, a perfect sequel to what the first game introduced in every way, and that's what a good sequel should be. You know, you should always be expanding on what the original game did. And again, Donkey Kong Country 3 is not terrible, but to me, it just didn't have the same bang. The locations, the bosses and everything, it just did not have the same bang for me that 2 did, and it does not have the same staying power with me and the same, just the wonderfulness of it. Again, just another one that the second game in the trilogy, man, is just fantastic, and then, you know, they kind of lost their way. And again, I would say Dead Space, out of all of these, is the only one where the trilogy, where the third game kind of just really fell off. Again, you know, they did wonderful things with 3 in some aspects, but then they also did something, it's like taking 5 steps forward and 2 back, you know? I don't feel that Mass Effect 3 and Donkey Kong Country 3 did this as much as Dead Space 3, but again, it's just a matter of the second game in these trilogies just being absolutely essential. If you're going to play any one of these trilogies, that they are essential. I mean, if you're like me and you want to play everything and get the story and everything, you know, Donkey Kong is not so much as far as, you know, getting the story. You know, it's more of just a platformer type old school game where there's not as much. But Mass Effect and Dead Space, I would highly suggest playing the first ones first. But yeah, just another game that was just great. I think, you know, Diddy Kong and Dixie are much more appealing to me than Donkey Kong ever was. And the baby from 3, I forget his name, he's just annoying as crap. I cannot stand him. But yeah, just great games. Great games. Some of my favorites. But yeah, it's just crazy how this happens sometimes, that, you know, the second game in a series can definitely just shine brighter and greater than the other ends of the trilogy that it's contained within. So anyway, I guess that's going to be it for today. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see and like what you hear. Just a really, really diehard gamer that just loves these games and loves this type of stuff, and I love having conversations. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on some of these games, what maybe your favorite trilogies are, if you feel the same way about some of your trilogy favorites. Let me know down in the comments. Thank you everyone for joining, and I'll see you next time. Game on.